is that time of year again. You can tell from the watch that's not on my hand. It is Halloween season. Even if you're not watching this when the video comes out, it is still Halloween season. And I feel the best way to prepare ourselves for Halloween is with a nice pre-game show. And the best way to pregame is with alcohol, and the best place for alcohol is at a convention. So, without further ado, here's the official Manga Macabre convention guide. The first thing you'll want to do is take a look at your guide and schedule. Conventions are notorious for being a blasted hellscape where life can't naturally thrive. So, your schedule will guide you to and away from the countless hazards that litter anime conventions, such as minotaurs, sirens, homestucks, Vic Mick, and towards fun things like panels, fandoms, or cosplay gatherings. And really, that's the meat and potatoes of most convention visits, assuming that you're some type of child that can't hold their quote-unquote heavy drugs, or quote-unquote liquor. While the creation of cosplay and handling yourself within is a guide that we can make an entire different video on, today we're going to keep it light and handle the simple bits. It's very important to know that cosplayers love collecting themselves into large hordes, sometimes known as a murder. They brandish their most arbitrarily accurate and creative costumes that they can muster, mostly for the sake of getting the attention that they desperately crave in their day-to-day lives. So be a pal and take a photo, but make sure you ask. It's a huge self-esteem boost to them when you ask. Be careful not to ask just a random person wearing a shirt to take a photo. While this may sound like a no-brainer, you have to ask questions like, is that old man Joseph Joestar? Or is that regular old man? Is that girl Elle from Death Note? Or is she just Elle Izzy from accounting? Asking the wrong person with the average fervor, the typical anime fan, can get the cops called, and there's no reason to get them involved if you don't have to. Unless you want them to find all the illegal, or at the very least, depressing things on your person. Okay, now it's time for panels. You know how school is for losers that don't know where to get pot or jobs from? See, panels are very similar to that, except for now you're a double loser, because instead of going in to get a lecture about something bettering yourself or learning a new trade, the difference here is that you're going in to hear about why Naruto is a magnum opus and a wonderful entry into the canon of Japanese literature. But then again, you are wearing a Silk Goku shirt, so in for a penny, in for a pound for these kind of things. There are a few different types of panels. Industry panels that are ads. These usually come from larger companies and announce things like dubs and various media announcements from the studios that publish these things. They don't usually have a whole lot in store, unless if you have tons of disposable income or care about Blu-ray media. No problem if you do, of course. Now, these commonly also have lotteries where people that attend the panels will get something nice for just showing up, or sometimes asking a question, like a t-shirt or hat or free Crunchyroll subscription. But be careful, because more often than not, they pick one unlucky audience member to be sacrificed live on stage. Now, don't let that stop you from going, because if you are picked, your next of kin will get that free 1 month of Crunchyroll and that hat. Also, your heroic sacrifice will be used as an offering for the next anime season that we trust will be bountiful. Fan panels are another type of panels you can go to that have things like a guide to getting into longer series that you've been neglecting to get into, like One Piece or Hero Academia or JoJo. Or maybe you just want to share your love with things in a more structured or deeper way, like hearing about very specific aspects of the shows and things that you enjoy. Sometimes these have gimmicks, like one panel may be about dubs that are especially bad, or anime that are especially weird. Some panels can be more of a performance art piece, like the Cosplay Wrestling Federation, which is exactly what it sounds like. Fun fact, did you know that Manga Macabre was pitched as one of these? Rejected for submission. Well, look who's laughing now, unnamed Anime Con. However, these aren't always about anime, like Cthulhu for President, that I personally am a fan of and a registered party member with. Some of these may be outright educational, like A Queer History of Geek Media, and if you're into that kind of thing, yowie, that's educational, right? My personal favorite is a 3-hour-long session where we pray to the great slab of wisdom, sit in silence for 3 hours, and pray that even a small sliver of its great bastions of knowledge and wisdom wash upon our unworthy flesh, bestowing visions beyond the scope of mortal man. This one is rather popular, so it's always good to get in line early. What isn't a panel is the viewing room. Here you can watch anime. I don't really have a whole lot to say here, but people use this space to fill time in between panels or when they just need to sit down and do things that they can do at home for free. Specifically, watch anime. And more specifically, spend copious amounts of time in the dark hiding from their life's problems and crying. Many people use the dark space to hide their shame and emotionally recoup from the day of crushing depression. Usually the anime being shown can drown out the sound of dozens and dozens of anime fans crying, and also, if you happen to be a smelly nerd, this is a great place to hide the stench. As well, if you happen to be a serial killer, a great place to hide the body for a couple of days, because the smell of nerd will of course drown it out. And for those of you with a more risque sense of humor, there's also the hentai room where nerds from far and wide gather around to lambaste the outright incompetence of Japanese animators. And, just like the law states, if you are caught doing more unsavory things in these rooms, you will be drawn and then quartered, so make sure to keep it in your pants, fellas. Now, I understand most of you basement dwellers only get out of your house once a year, or in the case of Manga Macabre viewers, only escape while I'm not looking. And I understand it's very tempting not to plan your day, but it's very important to actually organize, because sometimes a queer history of anime and silent obelisk worship are both very appealing but have overlapping times, so you're going to have to pick one. Now, commonly when going to anime cons, it's very tempting to do everything with your group of friends, but there's no shame in ditching them if you truly want to know exactly how bizarre JoJo's adventures get. So don't be afraid to ditch them. Speaking of ditching your friends, because it's cool, normally socialization is a very scary thing. That's why most anime fans don't have friends. But here's the catch. If everyone has the social skills of a freshly mangled body, and everyone smells equally about as terrible, then you're all on equal footing. There's no reason to be afraid. So if you want to make a friend, a con is a great place to do it. So you walk right up to that boy or girl and have a conversation. Keep it short, don't smell too bad, and don't show them your collection of gross anime girls. Or for that matter, regular girls. Or boys. Living or otherwise. Who knows, you might have something in common, and you might finally have a friend that doesn't secretly hate you. So I think we've covered the most important parts, but finally, let's go over some miscellaneous things going in. In the dealer's hall and artist room, don't be too afraid to haggle, but understand that they're running a business. Paying some chump minimum wage to stand here all day is hard work. Maybe don't get that $300 gross waifu figurine, mostly because it will become an effigy of your loneliness. Same for body pillows. Eating is good. Sleeping is good. Eating leftover food from discarded fast food meals is bad. Sleeping in the anime viewing room because you don't have a hotel is bad. People at the swap meet are trying to get rid of junk, so if you're buying it at retail, you're getting a bad deal. Also, and this is very important because I've learned this firsthand, do not Do not ever buy things from Ghost or things you feel are cursed, but you can probably get rid of if you run fast enough. They are cursed. Do not bother. That curse is stuck there, and there is no point on trying to get it off. Due to hate crimes, Vic Mick was publicly executed many years ago. However, his vengeful spirit still haunts most anime conventions, so be on lookout. And finally, here's a short list of things to always bring to a convention: soap, water, hand sanitizer, aspirin, 3 copies of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, extra towels, if you're a cosplayer, hot glue, and sewing utensils. And most importantly, and that's it! Now you're set for your next anime convention.
So, what have we learned today? Well, we've learned that most anime cons are a dangerous place, and almost all of its attendees are not productive members of society. However, most people who enjoy anime are all too aware of this fact. Did any of these fun and interesting tips help you, or alternatively get you thrown in jail? Let us know in the comments, as commenting will make you eligible for brutal experimentation. So make sure to share your opinions. I have been the host, and until next time, you will most likely continue to exist in some way, shape, or form, alive or no.